All right, hey guys, Enod here once again. It's a little bit late incoming, but I wanted to go over my season 13 round 2 Grand Arena. Um, this one is one that I actually lost, and it is a good example of what not to do. Um, I made several mistakes in this Grand Arena, and it totally cost me the win. Luckily, it was only Omegas, it wasn't Zetas, so I'm a little bit comforted by that. But still, I definitely wish that I had gotten that win. Because right now I'm actually really, really hurting on Omegas after the Padme event came out. And I had to gear and skill up Grievous and IG 100, the B2, and I just had a lot of Omegas that I had to spend in order to get that event done. And now I've got Padme, but I can't even bring her skills up because I don't have any Omegas. So, but it's only one Omega, so it's not that big of a deal. But I mean, I still, you always want to get that win. But so I ended up placing second, or tied for second to the second to fourth prizes. So I got two Omegas, and it's not bad. But let me go ahead and get into this fight. So this is the first battle that I attempted. CLS versus Triumvirate team. And this actually is a good counter for threes. The problem is that you play it differently in threes than you would in fives. So in fives, it's common to target Nihilus first, which is what I did. But in threes, you want to target Treya first because Treya is going to isolate here, which you'll see in just a second. And once she isolates, well, then you're pretty much screwed because your damage goes way down. It doesn't matter who she isolates. Like here, she isolated Han, but same result would have happened if she had isolated Chewie or CLS. Um, you just can't call the assists on every turn, so it just turns into an absolute nightmare. And here, I tried to DPS Scion down, but by then it was too late. Treya one hits my CLS, and it's totally over. So then I had to go up with a follow-up team. But that's, it's a great example of what not to do. You do not want to target Nihilus first in threes if you're using a CLS counter. So I lost that one, and then I kind of left it for a little bit, and then I just went, did some other battles. Then I went in and finished it off. So let's see here. My next team was to go Rex Wampa. I think this was against the Jin team, which was a normal counter that I use. Yep, Rex Wampa and Hoda. As you can see in my camera, I was not happy. But I did this Grand Arena really late at night, and I was just really tired and kind of trying to rush things, um, and that's what ended up costing me, honestly. So here, this was a typical counter, and it's a nice and easy win. It's very straightforward. You target Jin first, and then take out the other two. So next battle, I ended up taking Darth Treya, Nihilus, and Sith Assassin, which is a team that I like to use usually against Night Sisters. So here you can see I went ahead and I did that, and it's also a very straightforward fight. You want to use your Treya to isolate the zombie, and then you want to keep everyone else alive so that the isolate doesn't fall off of zombie, and just use your annihilate to kill him off. So here I went ahead and I annihilated Daka, and then like I said, just doing minimal damage until I get the annihilate back up, and then I'll annihilate Talzin, and it'll be game over. So this, like I said, it's a very straightforward fight, as long as you do it correctly. So one thing that sometimes I do that's a mistake is I use Assassin's Special to just get a little bit of additional damage out there. And when you do that, it's actually a pretty big mistake, because that basically allows your assassin to be targeted, and she can die pretty easily. So you want to keep her alive, which means you want to keep her stealth, which means just use her basic. So that's that. That was actually an easy win. And now I am going up, and I'm trying to decide here who to use my JTR against, because I like to use JTR against both crew and Bosk. She's a good counter to both those teams. And I've also got to decide what I'm going to do against that Revan, because now that I've lost my CLS down here, I pretty much am thinking that I need to take my my light Revan, my Jedi Knight Revan, against their the leftover Triumvirate team, which I'm pretty sure is what I ended up doing. But also went in, looks like I did a Thrawn team. So here we go. I tried to use Thrawn, Magma Trooper, Snow Trooper against the remnants of the Triumvirate team. Now this can work if your Magna Guard is geared up enough. My Magna Guard is really low gear. She is not good. And this ended up being a loss where I just lost Thrawn completely. So this was just another, like I said, it's a big mistake. I wish I hadn't done it, because you can only use Thrawn once, and he is he's a very necessary character for a couple of teams. But me wasting him here against Traya just ended very poorly. And I had a feeling that was going to be the case, but I had to give it a shot. And I knew that once he had Held by Hatred up, I knew that it was over. But I was just try what I can. And here I was trying to target Traya as much as I could, get as much damage on Traya as I could, because I knew that I wasn't going to get through Scion. But again, I also knew that I wasn't going to win the fight, so it was what it was. So here we go. In just a minute, I'm going to lose this. You see, I am doing actually a pretty decent job of hitting Traya, getting some good damage on her. But I can't do enough, especially because once when they damage your debuffed characters, they regen hit points, and I just can't break through the DP. I can't out DPS their heals. So here you'll see in just a minute, I'm going to lose here. I did get close. I did get pretty close to getting Trey out, but I could not quite make it. So there you see, there's the loss. And then, so I ended up having to use a third team to go in and finish Traya, which here I tried to take in Phoenix. And Phoenix did not have near enough damage output, which I had a feeling going into it, but I was just trying to save meta teams. And then I basically decided that I did not have a choice, so I went ahead and I brought in a duo of Jedi Knight Revan and Grandmaster Yoda to finish him off. here it was not as easy as I would have liked. But I blew through the Treya, and then it was just basically a matter of a little bit of time before I got through Scion. And call the assist, and there you go. So that's what I should have done on the second battle. Shouldn't have done the Thrawn team, but like I said, I was really trying to save as many teams as I could. And then once I got through to the back, I saw he had that Jedi Knight Revan team back there, and I knew that it was over because I was not expecting to see a Jedi Knight Revan. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to finish him off, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get rid of the Dark Revan because I wanted to save my Jedi Knight Revan for his Dark Revan, especially since I had lost my CLS team, which would have been my normal attempt to counter Darth Revan. So it's just a great example of, like I was saying, what not to do. So here I ended up taking General Kenobi, Jolee, and Mace against his Jedi Knight Revan team, and this was quite obviously it was going to be a loss. But I had to try something, and this was pretty much the best team that I had left. So this was a complete loss. As you can see, there's no contest whatsoever. I just systematically take them out. And then I have nothing left that can beat a Jedi Knight Revan or Dark Revan team. So then I go ahead and I do Kira Nest against his Yoda team with GK and Jolee. And it's a very straightforward, just Kira Nest. She makes a great counter for these types of teams. So you first want to go after Yoda because Yoda's got the big damage hits. So you want to take her out as quick as you can, even though Jolee can bring him back. You just want to make sure that he's down so that he can't do the big damage hit. It's going to kill you. So you focus down Yoda very quickly. If he gets res, you focus him down again because you don't want to get that one. You don't want to get one shot. And then after he's down, then you go and you take out Jolee, and then you just finish off. Kenobi. Now, in this case, like it was taking me so long to just focus down the Yoda that I believe I ended up switching targets over to Jolee and just was killing the Yoda on counterattacks. But there you go. That's what I use there. And here I go ahead and I take my resistance team here against their bounty hunters. Again, it's a standard counter. You really want to lock down their boss. You want to keep him ability blocked. And you want to keep him stunned. You want to keep him, anything that you can do to keep him from taunting, from getting that taunt up. Now, your third, I use C-3PO here. Your third can be anyone. It can be R2. It can be Finn. It could be any resistance character, really. I actually made a mistake by bringing 3PO in here because I was actually planning on using 3PO on another team. I just wasn't thinking when I did when I just went into the battle. I wasn't thinking about future battles, which is another thing that you need to do. You need to constantly plan out your attacks. What I was planning on doing was a Akbar leading Leia and 3PO against one of his weaker teams. So here you see I was going in, I was looking at Confuse and just showing that Confuse will prevent his Dengar from gaining the Tenacity up buff, which allows you to constantly land the debuffs, allows you to just take him out so he's not doing his AoE damage. And so then you just Once he's down, go ahead and focus down Bosk again, so his damage is not going to be, it's not going to be threatening. So there you go, simple counter against that. And then I went ahead and I took my Maul-led team with Scion and Sidious against his crew team. I've done this in the past. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. The big threat is crew actually getting his stun onto Scion. If he keeps stunning Scion, then it's pretty much game over and there's nothing that you can do. And that's what ended up happening here. It was a loss because he kept on stunning my Scion and I couldn't get my Scion to use his Held by Hatred, and I couldn't do anything. It was a nasty loss. So just another thing, another example of what not to do. So there, I tried to force close. I don't remember if, okay, so I tried to force close and it did not work, so he ended up with having preloaded turn meter. And then I've got to decide, okay, what other team am I going to bring to try to knock him out? I don't even know if I ever did. So here I went ahead and I took my troopers against his low-geared Ewoks. His Ewok scout was pretty low hit points, so I was like, okay, I can probably fast DPS him down. And once I do that, I get the turn meter train going. It's going to be a piece of cake, and that is what pretty much ended up happening. His scout did go under stealth, but by then, I already have the turn meter train going, so it's not that big of a deal, and it was a pretty easy win. Next, I took my Talzin team against his Ewoks. What was it? Wicket under Chirpa with Poplu. And actually, I think this ended up being a loss, if I recall correctly. But we'll see here in just a minute. I know that I got another loss somewhere that was pretty disappointing. And I want to say that this was it, just because he has so much turn meter gain. So here I went ahead, I took out Poplu, and here we go, and my Talzin's almost dead. And I do not have a Zeta on Talzin, which is why I'm not bringing Talia back to life. So I took him out. Now we've just got Chirpa. So it wasn't a loss. It was just that I, only had one character surviving at the end of it. So I was far, far from max banners. And here we've got a Karth team. I'm pretty sure I lost this one, especially since I'm looking at bringing Ewoks in. Yep. I brought Ewoks in. I was planning on bringing in Logray so that I could do days, because this is an assist-heavy team. So I wanted to make sure that I could prevent those assists as much as I can. I also wanted to... I targeted... what's-her-face Juhani there so that I could remove her turn meter, because that's actually a big threat, is her taunt, which is also a stun. So I wanted to make sure that I removed her turn meter so that I could get as many turns as I could. And this actually was a win. So you should see she did get her stun off there on Chirpa, but by now it is too late, and this ends up being actually a much easier win than I thought it would be. So Daze is a great counter to a team with Karth, but you got to be careful about their damage, because they can actually pile on quite a bit of damage. So here I'm going back and I'm going to look at their crew and decide what I'm going to use here. And this was an example. Like, I was trying to find 3PO because I wanted to use an Akbar 3PO Leia team, but I was not able to because I had used my 3PO against the Bosk team. And so I think I do end up taking out Executioner, but I don't end up taking out anyone else. And there I did not do the AoE on R2, and that's because I did not want to get the multiple counterattacks um, from both Kylos. So now the taunt's back off, I can focus back on Executioner. And I keep getting the single taps from Leia, which really hurt me on this fight. Like you'll see constantly I'm just getting single taps. I got a double tap there, but I can't seem to get the the train going that I needed to with Leia. This would have been much less of a concern if I had 3PO on the team instead of R2. But I mean, I was working with what I had, and this ended up being a nasty failure. And there was another single tap from Leia on the Executioner, and there we go, another loss. So next I go and I bring in a Scoundrel team. I've got Lando leading Zam and Canderous. I don't use Canderous anywhere else. I wasn't going to use Zam anywhere. I knew that Canderous was not going to be a good mix in this team, but I needed that third Scoundrel. And he's not a good mix in this team because he's constantly landing the debuffs, which is constantly causing crew to heal. It would also cause Kylo to heal. Like I said, I needed that third person, and so Cantress was the only real fit that I had left. But I got rid of Executioner, and then I just got to decide what else I'm going to do. So here I go ahead and I bring in my leftover resistance. I've got Finn leading Trooper and Scav Ray. I don't remember how this went, but we'll take a look at it here together. And I'm pretty sure that this is a pretty bad loss. We've got, my resistance troopers almost dead already. I haven't made a dent in their guys. They've got counterattacks on everyone, so it's just, it's just not going to be a good fight. And I knew this going in, but I was like, I don't have really anything else to try. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can get a probe droid to blow someone up. If I can blow up crew, then I can go back in with another team and finish off Kylo. And so that's what I did. I went ahead and I blew up crew. And then the other guys are just dead. And I go ahead and I can bring in anyone else to finish them off. I ended up bringing my own undergeared Kylo Ren. And then my First Order TIE Fighter pilot is geared up from when he was actually a good ship a long time ago, and just wiped him out. But that was the end of it. I had absolutely nothing left to deal with their Dark Revan. I had nothing left to deal with their Jedi Revan. So I knew it was over. But I do believe I went ahead and I tried. And there I'm going over what's left in my defense. Did I try? Nope, I did not try anything else on their Darth Revan team. So one thing that I would normally try on a Darth Revan team is using a junk team to just eat the cooldowns, and then following it up with maybe a Jedi Revan team or a CLS team, and maybe a third if necessary. But you go in with a kind of a junk team, you eat their cooldowns, and then you follow in with a strong team, and that usually is enough to win. As if you go in with a strong team right off the bat, you're going to get the mass fear, and it's just going to be over very quickly. But that's that. So this is a great example of what not to do. Good example of compositions that you should not use. And I hope that this was educational and helpful for you. So I will see you next time. We've got tonight. We have Grand Arena Season 14, Round 2. I've got a decent fight, so I'll be going into that pretty shortly. So I hope to see you then. Have a great night.